I've been trying to get this guy on for at least 6 months. Roy Ripper, how are you this morning?
I'm really good, thank you, Angela. I'm raring to go. Really raring
It,
to go.
it
Thank you
is true, though,
for
isn't it?
inviting.
We booked you for last year. We wanted to get you on there, but we also wanted to combine this with you getting your new book updated. So we will have you on the book club as well as soon as that's available.
Fantastic.
So tell everyone that doesn't know you. I'm not sure if there's a lot of people on here that don't, but tell everyone a little bit about yourself before we get into your presentation.
Okay. And thank you, Angela. Thanks for inviting me. And, I know we've been trying to get this on. Actually, I've wanted to get onto recruiting, Jim, for a lot longer. So it's brilliant that we're doing this today. In terms of background and stuff, I will go into a bit more detail during the presentation, but just look, if anyone doesn't know me, I've worked in the recruitment industry for 35 plus years now, so it has been a long time. I'm the guy behind Recruitment Juice. You might know me from that, the DVDs, the film video product. I also hosted Recruiters Live Lounge, one of the first recruitment focused podcasts, and we did very well with that. I'm an author of an existing book called Recruitment Blueprint. And I think that's it in a nutshell. I've trained over 512,000 recruiters worldwide. So I don't know who counts them, but I've been told that. So yeah, I think that's me in a nutshell, Angela. So let's just get on with it. So look, this session is brand spanking new. I've not trained this to any live group before. It is material, obviously, that I'm very familiar with, but I haven't trained this live. So you guys are the first to hear about it. Today's session, why you need to, 5 things stopping you from launching a retained executive search division for your recruitment business this year. But I'm also going to talk about the 5 biggest obstacles stopping you from taking action today. These are the 5 most common things that I hear from recruitment business owners and leaders worldwide. So by the end of today, and this is where I want to make a big promise to you, by the end of today, you're going to learn the 5 things that are stopping you from doing it today, from creating and scaling a retained executive search division within your existing perm contract temporary recruitment business. Doesn't matter what you've got. It doesn't matter what level you recruit at or what your niche is, you'll be able to do this. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to hopefully prove it to you today. Just flip forward to the slides that I wanted to talk to you about. So you're in the right place. I just wanted to check in with you. You're in the right place if you're motivated to get consistent monthly revenues and profits and add those to your existing business, and to avoid something that I certainly experienced, the uncertainty, the unpredictability of those roller coaster revenues. You're also in the right place if you have thought about starting an executive search business or retained one, but you were not sure where to start or how to start. And finally, you're in the right place if you want your team to consistently make more senior level placements so that you can increase your average placement value. Finally, this masterclass is for you if you've previously tried to add retained search to your existing perm contract or temp recruitment business and you failed, so that you've ended up, and this is for you so you don't end up with egg on your face, okay? Now, if you stay with me right to the very end, Andrew and I are going to do a Q&A right at the end and answer any question that you might have either about this presentation or about you've tried executive search, you've tried starting it, maybe you've got a question about it, you might have a question about charging, anything at all. Andrew and I right at the end, Andrew's going to help me again, I'm sure, but we'll try and answer as many questions as we can live today. So if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you details on this special bonus ebook. Again, I haven't released it. It's to you guys first, but it details what we're talking about today and some more. Okay, so it talks about some solutions. So the first thing that I want to say to you is, let me take a sip of my coffee. Excuse me. First thing that I want to say to you is stay focused. Stay focused on this session, because I know what it's like. I've attended webinars myself. I constantly do it. I look at other people's work to inspire myself. But if I don't turn off my inbox, or my Facebook, or my WhatsApp, I get these pings and I'm always distracted by them. Now, I can't reach down this camera lens and kind of close them for you, but it's like, it's up to you. We're all grown-ups. But I would say to you, if you're focusing on this session, first of all of my slides are visual. Okay, there aren't these death by PowerPoint, loads of different phrases and everything else. You won't just be able to pick it up from my slides. They're to help you remember, but I'm going to throw at you lots of different stuff. And I would urge you, take as many written notes as you can, because you'll want to revisit this training later on. Of course, Angela will let you have access to a replay, but it'd be really good if you could use this time, invest this time and give it to yourself to learn. Okay, so we did a little bit of an intro at the beginning of today. I'll just pull this up. People know me for different things, but I wanted to tell you a little bit of a story because, excuse me, a lot of people ask, particularly of trainers, recruitment trainers or any trainers, they'll say, oh, but what have you done? And there is this fallacy that people in training, what is the phrase, if you can't do, people that can't do train, or something like that. So I wanted to smash that today. Not only have I done these things, but actually I started life as a very, very junior recruiter. I progressed to manager, I progressed to director and managing director of 3/4 companies. And again, a lot of people ask, but what's your retained executive search qualifications? And when people look at Recruitment Blueprint or any of the other body of work that I do, they don't see the experience that I've had. So I just wanted to share with you that part of that journey, hopefully to say to you that you too can do this, all right? Because I didn't start doing exec search, I progressed to that. So really, really quickly on my journey, I started off placing people in fashion and retail, and it was a notoriously low-paid industry. So my first placement, I think, was a £7,500, not fee, but basic salary. And our lowest fee, we used to charge 7.5%. I don't know where the half is coming from, but that was our fees. So it was very much a low value, high volume recruitment market. And I did it really well, and I got good at it. And in fact, during that time, I started to become known as the recruitment advertising specialist. I was the person that was selling more ads than my competitors and getting adverts, visual adverts, what are they called? Semi-display? Yeah. Adverts in the Evening Standard, in the Sunday Times, etc., etc. So I just got good at that bit, but it was 100% contingency. You can imagine at that fee level, it was pretty low. Later on, I progressed in that company up to manager and then ultimately to the managing director of that company. It was a small boutique kind of agency, but it was really good. I then moved into mid-management search, and I started my first recruitment business with a guy that some of you be familiar with, James Kahn, ex-Dragon's Den. So I started a business called Retail Profiles. It was in an industry where the top fee was 20%, I think, fee levels that they used to charge. And in that market, it was 100% contingency based. I started off a 100% retained recruitment business, exec search business, mid-management search, and we charged 30% fees, and it was fully retained. Third, and third completion. Again, I got really good at that. I'm trying to remember in terms of fees, I generated something in the region of just over 1.2 million personally. So I had another business partner plus James, and I think 4 consultants and a couple of researchers. So we did very, very well. I was then invited to start from scratch a 100% retained executive search division, placing sales directors for a company called Corporate Services PLC, Corporate Services Group PLC, CSG. And that was a 350 million, I think dollars, maybe in pounds, but let's just kind of like pick one. I think it was dollars. $350 million turnover company. It was the world's largest at that time. You know, when I worked with them, I know that's kind of gone up and down with different companies. Now, my job there was not only to sell retain, but it was also to develop a division. And I ended up taking complete rookies and turning them into 360-degree retained search specialists. They sold and they delivered. We had a research team. We had 3 offices, London, Manchester, and Birmingham. And I grew it, and we did very, very well. I think we got it up to about 3 million plus in less than 3 years. So not too bad. I'm coming to the end of this, and what I want to say to you is, first of all, that is it's my story, it's my background. A lot of people just assume I was a trainer, I was a coach, but that's where I came from. And my recruitment experience taught me a number of things, but the biggest thing that I learned was that the retained search process could be taught to anyone willing to learn and work hard, regardless of their background. So, you know what, I was just a poor boy from Brixton. I wouldn't have got into the high level top 5 search firms, but I was really, really motivated to learn it and to study. And I did. I studied some of the best people doing it. And I was able to learn it. And then I was able to transfer that learning into all of the people that came to work with me. Subsequently, I've gone on and I've trained a number of people, as I said, 512,000 people worldwide with my live training, my coaching, and my products. I know Anna Jones is with us today. I know you will recognize yourself there. But anyway, I won't dwell on that. It's enough about me. What I wanted to do was talk about you. Okay, so can you imagine just for a moment what it would feel like if you got paid in advance for everything, every small thing you and your team did? Just imagine what that would feel like. Because I know what it's like not to get paid. You know, when you work hard on a recruitment assignment to fill a position, you may have worked 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, and then you get to the very end and they say, oh no, we've just recruited an internal person. Or, oh, another agency picked you to the post, or another agency got that CV in earlier. I know that because I've experienced that. But imagine if it was different. Imagine if you got paid in advance. And I also want you to imagine how you would feel in your business being able to confidently project your monthly, quarterly, and annual turnover. And if you were able to confidently project those things, how confident would you feel being able to invest and scale your recruitment business with that level of certainty? So let's look at the 5s. I'm just checking my slide to make sure I don't make any spelling mistakes. Let me just take a sip of my coffee while you read. The 5 biggest obstacles stopping you from launching today. Number 1, and this is huge. People that start to think about starting a retained agency, they start off, and one of the biggest things is they don't have a niche. Or if they do work a niche in their existing contract, permanent, temporary business, they're not sure whether it's going to translate well into exec search, or let's just call it search, okay? Just to, it doesn't have to be executive level. I'm going to talk about that later. But the biggest mistake that I see is people going wide with it. All right, they start thinking, they go, oh, I'll place in IT, I'll be exec search in IT. That's just an example. It's not the only one, but they think wide. And the reason why they think wide is that they're too scared to focus. They don't want to alienate their existing client base, and they walk away. And they don't want to walk away from any business. So in their core business right now, they speak to clients and they may place right across the spectrum. And that's fine. It's like sometimes we need to take business wherever we can. But for exec search, specifically for retained exec search, you have to go niche. And I know there's a few people on here today that I privately coach, one-to-one coach, and people in my group coaching program that know that phrase. I'm always saying to them, niche, that's the way to go. And just on this thing of being scared to walk away from business, I would say the reverse of that is true. So they end up speaking so generically, people end up, when it goes wide, end up speaking so generically that they alienate the exact clients and candidates that they really, really want to target. And the reason they alienate them, the reason behind it is that their sales messages become diluted and woolly. I've seen it on their websites. They just say, oh, we specialize in and it's like, you can't specialize in all of those things, and you certainly shouldn't for search. Nail the niche, because when your sales messages are diluted and woolly, people switch off. And they switch off because you don't know their specific challenges, wants, and needs. But some people, if they're thinking about niche, they're unsure about the fee levels they should be charging. If they haven't been used to charging high fees, it's really common to undersell what you should be charging. And again, I've worked with a number of people who go, oh, you know what, Roy? My market will never pay 25 to 30% fees. Think back to the example that I gave you. In my market, we were charging 7.5%, probably up to about 18%, I think it was, top fee. But that was like for really high in my field. And I started overnight just saying my fees are 30% and you have to pay me upfront in order to work it. I was like the Linda Evangelista, if you could believe that for a second, of my market, fashion retail. I wouldn't get out of bed unless someone paid me to do it. So it's not about your market won't, because the trouble is we know that clients do pay higher fees, but they're paying them to somebody else. They also, these people that I speak to, they also believe that their clients will never retain them. They'll never pay money up front. And that they seldom remember that clients frequently pay retainers. Think about it. People pay retainers, clients pay retainers to accountants, to lawyers, and other professional services. And forgive me, it's like I've, championed recruitment professional standards for the duration of my career, 35 plus years. We are a professional service. And the more we view it as that, the more clients will align us with other professional services that they buy. And they do pay retainers. Second biggest obstacle, no team. It's home alone time. And we know that without the right team, you will never successfully scale your recruitment business. It's just a fact. Yeah. And if I've seen people thinking about, well, it's hard for them to take out their most successful recruiters from their core business, because sometimes those people go, oh, yeah, you're doing exec search, I want to do that. And they could be your most successful perm or temp recruiters or whatever, and they want to do it. But in order to do that, to transfer them from your core business into this brand new exec search division with no guarantee of success, it's a bit of a risk. In fact, it's a huge risk, because those people require extra reassurance. I've seen it where people have gone, yeah, but in my contract desk, I was billing X and I was being paid Y. I want a guarantee if I go across this new division. Well, there are no guarantees of success. It's down to that person to make it work. But if you as the owner are having to guarantee that, that's a really big ask for you. And sometimes those people, they're the most fearful if it doesn't work. All right. They're the most fearful. If it doesn't work, they end up blaming you for their failure. It's like, well, I didn't want to do it, And if I didn't do it, it's because I didn't get the training, or they'll also tell you that we didn't have a brochure. That was a really common one that I'd heard. it's also really common to look at people that aren't currently cutting it in your core business, and give them something new and shiny to focus in on. And now, if that works, particularly if they were successful, if they were once successful, but they haven't built since that amazing first quarter of their first year in recruitment, I'm telling you, resist. All right, resist those people that aren't quite cutting it. They once were a biller in their first month or 2 months in recruitment, and you're just hoping something new is going to save them. Resist it. Because here's the thing, if your current recruiters haven't been able to be consistent for you in your core business, they will definitely, mark my words, they will definitely be consistent in your new one. Consistently average or consistently terrible. Okay, so don't try and shift people over that haven't quite cut it in one area of your business. That's the wrong thing to do. Third obstacle, no skills. There's a skills gap. People that have this obstacle, their existing recruiters don't have the necessary skills at the level required. They don't know how to take a full and complete job brief from a client. And I just don't mean title, duties, money. And I'm not slagging off recruiters. It's like there are some recruiters that do it in that way and they still make placements because they know what the company is. But on a retained search assignment where you've got to proactively go out to the industry and you've got to market that opportunity to people that aren't active job seekers, you need a lot more in your locker than title, duties, money. All right. They need to existing skills. They haven't got an ideal person spec from taking that full complete job brief. They don't know how to pitch a retained fee structure over contingency fee structure. They don't know how to gain exclusivity commitment from every stakeholder in the decision. It's not just the hiring manager or the person that gives you the brief and agrees the fee. It's every stakeholder in that, and that's what they need to be able to do. They don't know how to effectively gather names from an industry, and there's a technique to that. Obviously, we've got lots of tech and IT and access to databases, but it's not just about that. It's about turning over stones. It's about knowing your market. It's about knowing your search universe and continually adding to that. They need to know how to approach likely candidates, how to build rapport, and how to present client opportunities to those people without giving away your client's company name and without giving away the top salary that your client's prepared to pay. They don't know how to qualify each candidate against that job brief. You need to be able to compare apples to apples, not apples to pears. It's like you need to take that job brief and you're comparing every single candidate, qualifying every candidate, towards that brief. They need to be, these people aren't confident in presenting candidate shortlists to the client. They have to be. It's about selling the 3 to 5 candidates that you've been able to locate, and you've spoken to a number of people in order to get these 3 to 5 who are the best in the market, not on the market, the best people currently working in your client's market, happy, successful, doing the job, getting paid quite well. And it's those people as opposed to the ones that are just sitting on a database or sitting on a CV library. Because there's loads of those, but what we want, or what your client wants, is I want the best people. I want the best people currently doing the job, successful, and I want them working for me. They need to know how to control the client candidate interview process and offer process. It's a real, it can be a minefield, but instead of just being a passenger on a bus, the recruitment process takes place, or the interview process takes place. And the recruiter's the last person to know what's going on until the client says, oh yeah, we want to hire, we don't want to hire. Well, this is about controlling and influencing every single stage, even to the point of sitting in on those interviews or hosting those interviews with your client and your candidate. Anyway, look, there's a whole heap of skills, right? Closing, commitment, managing the notice period. You know all of those. The good news, the good news is that every single one of those skills and many more can be taught and they can be learned. That's the most important thing. They can be taught. They're just skills. They don't have to have, born as a retained exec search recruiter. You take a good recruiter or even a good second job, a salesperson, you can train those skills and they can learn those skills. There is always that distinction. You can train and people don't learn, but the right people, you train them, they learn, they practice. Fourth obstacle, 4 of number 5. Fourth obstacle is no system. Now, this is one that I see a lot. Yeah, no consistency. The clients end up feeling that they're getting a different experience, almost like dealing with hundreds of different recruitment businesses in one company. Because if they speak to consultant A, he or she delivers it in this way. If you speak to consultant B, or if they speak to consultant B, they get a different type of approach. It's like ask different questions, taken through a different process. And from a client's point of view, it just feels like chaos. It doesn't feel like consistency. And if you think about successful businesses, whether it's a Hilton hotel or whether it's a McDonald's, process, system, uniformity, it's key. And particularly at this level, and retained exec search level, that's what they want. They want to feel, particularly if they're a big company that believe in process and systems and everything else, they want to feel that they're using a company that reflects the way they work. So it's about having a standard operating procedure, an SOP that delivers a constant and consistent level of customer service and their customer journey from start to finish. The other thing about no standard operating procedure is you just become one of thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of other recruitment businesses out there. So a lot of consultants always ask me, yeah, but what's my USP? What's my USP? Your USP is your signature recruiting system. And even if it sounds similar to other companies, and it will, you need to put your stamp on that. This has been developed over a period of time. This is, we've worked this for so many times that we know that this works best for our clients and the candidates that we represent. And clients love that. Consistency. Okay, final obstacle. No knowledge. No knowledge, because recruiters don't know how to effectively sell what they do. And I ask recruiters this a lot. I just say, it's like, well, tell me what you do. And it's like they can't, they really, really can't. And I'm not talking about just junior consultants. I'm talking about some leaders of their own recruitment businesses that have recruited. Maybe they're at senior level, MD, CEO, whatever. And I'll ask them, it's like, why should I buy retain from you? And they struggle with it. So it's not about seniority. It's not about level. It's just about, this is a specific skill. How do we present a retained exec search process and win it? Okay, because it's a different type of knowledge, it's a different type of skill. Sometimes these people don't articulate what they do, they don't articulate the benefits to the client, the experience of doing it, and the results that they achieve. All they hear is crickets. Okay, all they're hearing is like nothing. Now, some good recruitment businesses, they may be your business, are what I like to call the best kept secrets in their niche. You are so good at what you do, and you're so good with the clients that you work with, but you don't have to go out and present to brand new clients. Like, it's either through word of mouth and whatever, and that's great. It's really good. But in order to scale an exec search business or a retained exec search business, you have to be able to sell. This is it's like it's a given. You have to sell. You have to present what you do. The other thing that the lack of knowledge is they just don't know when a retained search solution is the best solution. When what they hear from a client should suggest it automatically, and how they go about nuancing a presentation, because you get standard presentations, but how do you nuance that based on the client's hot buttons? Yeah, maybe the client said, oh, it's a confidential position, maybe it's a really senior position, it's critical, it's key, I don't want anyone in the market to know about it, confidential. Could be a whole heap of reasons. It's replacing somebody that's currently in the role, all types of reasons. And those hot buttons or those clues from the client should signal this is a good retained search pitch that we should be doing to this, a solution we should be offering. But they don't know how to bridge it. They don't know what those clues are. And if they do, they, clients will come up with objections. Of course they are. Anyone that's buying anything is going to object at some point. Oh, it's too expensive, I don't pay retainers, whatever. But this knowledge, this skill is about understanding, first of all, what those objections are likely to be. With experience, I'll tell you, it's 12 to 15 standard objections you will ever hear about retained search. So if you know what those 12 to 15 are, and you work out what your responses will be to each of those 12 to 15, you just take it in your stride. It's not a problem, because you've heard it, you know what your strategy is, and you're able to deal with it. But again, this is knowledge that people can learn, can be taught, and it can be learned. The other thing I do see, one big obstacle, is in the core business of some of these companies, the recruiters in that core business. When I was working with Corporate Services Group, £350 million turnover company, there were a lot of different people in a lot of different recruitment businesses. And we used to incentivize them really heavily to be able to promote the exec search division that I ran. But they struggled with it. And, maybe I would argue we didn't train them well enough, because the people that we spent time with, we trained them on how to spot the opportunity and how to, upsell retained exec search. They did really, really well. I just couldn't roll it out to 3,500 employees, I think it was, or recruiters that work for them. I couldn't do it, and I couldn't do it quick enough. But that's a big thing. If people don't know how to upsell or suggest in your other division. So look, we're coming towards the end. Just a final thing that I want to say, summary. It's not the final, Angela, I promise. The summary of what we've just said is 5 obstacles: no niche, no team, no skills, no system, no knowledge. Those are the 5 biggest things that you're going to find. And if you don't have that foundation in place, if it's wobbly at all, then you'll struggle. You'll make too many costly mistakes, and ultimately you will end up with egg on your face. I love that slide. I just hate the thought of a fried egg on my face, and I have had in the past. Not fried eggs, but just I have failed. Hopefully no one's saying on this particular presentation. I did really, the presentation itself. Thankfully, there is another way, and Angela alluded to it earlier. I'm just putting the finishing touches to a brand new program called the Retained Search Millions Method. But what I can tell you is that it's not simple, it's hard, but it's really simple to remember. If you start at the top of that star, it's specializing and choosing your niche and deciding on your fee levels. The right-hand side, squad, it's about getting the right team in place, a team of A players that are going to represent you and be able to be profitable in the shortest possible time. And that's about, how do we recruit brand new people into the business and get them up to speed as quickly as possible. Third point of this star is skills. Remember, skills can be taught and they can be learned. It's just about identifying which skills your current people have and the gap between what they need to have. Coming up with a development program that gets them across that gap in the shortest time possible. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th point of that star is you've got to have a system, a signature recruitment system that is badged you, okay? I won't do it here, but I can show you examples of how people do that. Different search businesses, how they lay out all these steps. Because there's another thing about doing that, which is if you just tell people, oh yeah, what do? We take your position, we put it out, we find the best candidates, we give them to you, and there's an interview process, and then you decide to offer. If you told somebody that for retained search, and I'm not suggesting that you do that in your business right now, but there are some people that do it. But if you did that for retained search, and at the end of it, you said to them, and it's going to cost you 30%, and you have to pay me a third of that up front, third on shortlist and a third on placement, they'd laugh at you. All right. It's like, well, what am I paying for? So the devil is in the detail. What you want to do is outline a complete recruitment process with every bell and whistle in there, so that when you get to your fee and you say 30%, a client's going to think, oh my God, that's like significant value for that. Or in the very, very unlikely circumstance where they say to you, oh, that's a bit high for us. Could you not come down to 25%? Say, look, I'm happy to consider that. But which part of that process that I've just outlined, that signature recruitment system, would you suggest that I leave off for you? And I promise you, if you've done it well enough, they will struggle. They will absolutely struggle. Will you win everything at 30%? No, I'm not going to claim that. That's just wrong. But you certainly will learn how to pitch it confidently because you've got that system. Brings us to sell. Your people have got to know how to present retained search solutions to your client. They've got to know how to deal with every objection that's going to hit them, and not just to cope or manage, but to overcome, to smash through those objections and win. Okay. The final overall thing is you've got to have a vision. You've got to, before you start anything like this, you've got to have an overall vision and strategy. Everything else that I've told you around that star, it's all tactical. But you've got to start off with a very, very clear, crystal clear vision of what you want that business to look like when you're done. And you've got to have a strategy to get there. And then tactically, you just work through the stuff. Okay. I promised you this book. I'm hoping Charlotte will be able to put up this URL. Anybody that wants to go forward with this, I've just published this book. It's an ebook, all right? So it's not one that you need to buy. It's free for you. It's digital. You can download it really easily. Just go to royripper.com/free guide. You'll get that book. It talks about the obstacles, but it also talks about some of those solutions that I've only just been able to, tap on for today, or just, show you, but rather than going to detail, or as much detail as I'd like to. So that's available for you. I'm sure we can get that piece up. Final piece, we're gonna get into Q&A. Angela is waiting. I'm hoping that she and Charlotte have got questions for us.
We're here, I must admit, and yes, the fact that you're giving away that book, that's fantastic, because that's going to make a huge difference for people to be able to then delve into the information a little bit more. So Charlotte will get that link in there. We've also got our How to Sell Retained Search as well by Alan Clark. So there's nice resources everywhere for you. Our daily workout, we've covered it a few times. So if this is something that you're looking at, then do your research beforehand, and like you say, get yourself set up first so that you're not working it out as you're going along. So if you're going to launch it, do it properly, do it from there. Okay, so questions wise, we've had a load of chatter, but we've not had the questions. So whether people are like, I've got that, I get it, this is going to be something I'm going to focus on, and therefore they're going to do some more research. But let's just have a look. Here we go. I knew as soon as I say that, they're like, no, I've got a question. How do you overcome the client saying they can't take you on a retained basis due to GDPR?
Due to GDPR?
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure where the link is, Anna. So
I'm not. Yeah. In fact, I should know, Anna. Let me just read the question again. Let's just make sure. Coming in the content. Okay, I know that Anna had this specific thing with the company, and I know she's asked it. Thank you, Anna, for just throwing that spanner in my works. But it was a very unusual request. It's like, I've not come across that particular one, but I know that it happened to Anna. The key thing with any objection, but this one specifically, is I would get back into the client and say, okay, maybe I haven't explained the retained search process to you in sufficient detail for you to understand, and the implications for it against GDPR. But I would definitely examine that objection, Anna. I'd get into them. It's like, what have I not told you? What's the block or the obstacle that you think is in place? Let me try and answer that for you. Anna, I will help you with that one. If you want to talk to the client, you want me in on the call, I'm happy to join you.
Well, my brain immediately went to the fact you're approaching people that haven't asked to be approached, which is the same scenario. If you're going to be exec searching and headhunting, that's out there. But this is a business conversation, isn't it? And we're approaching people at business to talk business.
Exactly right. And much better answer from Angela there. I think it's a business conversation. The other thing, because for years this has gone on, before GDPR came along, the term poaching was there. And I've certainly had, heads of companies phoning me. I've once famously had the CEO of a really large retail company phone me saying, "What the bloody hell are you doing? Poaching my staff?" Or it wasn't me; it was my consultants. And I said to him, "Look, first of all, I'm really sorry that you've seen that." I said, "There's no poaching going on. Believe me, I grew up in Brixton. I know what stealing is like. It's going in and putting someone in a bag and nicking them and carrying them off. All we're doing is we're putting an opportunity to somebody that we've identified." I told him as well, the truth of the matter is none of your people have bitten on our client's opportunity, which tells me that you're doing something right. Maybe we should be talking. Anyway, it was a bit, just wanted to shout, which was fine. I ended up meeting him and picking up a whole load of retained business from him too. With GDPR, if somebody is on a network like LinkedIn, if they're identifiable, because they've got a public profile, then there is nothing to stop you making an approach and saying, "Look, I've got something I want to talk to you about. Is that something you'd be open to?" You will hear no, and that's fine. It's like, you're only going to talk to the people that bite. Okay. Great question, Anna. Thank you, Angela.
We've got a couple more, so we're going to have to whiz on. So Martin's saying, challenges when competing with internal recruitment teams. Thoughts, please.
I saw that one, and that's the one I really wanted to answer. Great question, Martin. You know what, recruitment, it has developed. It's like back in the day, I used to pitch up against HR teams, human resource teams, and that was an easy one for me to do, because I would say, "Look, we'll work in conjunction with your HR team." HR do a whole lot of other stuff, really good stuff. It's like recruitment is a very small portion of what they did or what they do. So it was an easy one just to go, "Look, we'll complement them." It's like, we'll take care of it, etc. Internal recruiting teams I have pitched against, and actually it's a really similar pitch. First of all, your internal recruiting team, if they go out to the market and they approach the best people working for your competitors, you'll end up starting a talent war between your companies. So your internal team can't go out, and it's another part of GDPR, I suppose, because they've got to be really specific about the pitch. "Hi, I'm calling up from, I don't know, Apple." Apple wouldn't do this. "I'm calling up from Apple, and I've got an opportunity at our company, Microsoft, that I'd like to talk to you about." They'd be shot, all right? Apple, Microsoft would sue Apple. It'd just be a complete war. So when I'm going up against an internal hiring department, I say to them, "Look, only give me the positions that you're into," and that's another assumption as well, correct assumption. "Only give me or retain me on the positions that your internal recruiting team have been unsuccessful on, because you're guaranteed that the client won't talk to you unless it's a position that they haven't been able to fill themselves." So for me, it's one of the easiest ones to pitch against. But I love the question, Martin. Sorry for my long answers, Angela.
No, that's it. I can click that one off. Do you think you can do this as a startup with no existing reputation? So that's Kate. Is that Kate Nuds there? Yeah. So
Hi, Kat. How are you? Good. Yes, Kat, and my answer to that. It's like, yes, you can. there's actually a real benefit to being somebody, because Kat's a very experienced recruiter, and I'm assuming everybody in the room today, you've recruited, you understand recruitment, maybe you're the leaders of recruitment businesses. So you understand recruitment. Could you tomorrow start a retained executive search division? Kat, you know the answer. I've told it to you. Yes, you can, because you actually don't have the baggage of turning around and saying, okay, well, you know, Mr. Client, you've known me for doing this type of work for you. Today, I'm actually doing this type of work at this level, and you're going to have to pay me more. It's not impossible, and there'll be people that might ask that question. Not impossible to bridge that gap, but for someone starting brand new, you hang your sign up on the door, and that's what you get known as. How quick would it take you, Kat? I would say to you, you can do it in 60 days. Like Angela said, you've got to get the foundations in right. You've got to do it properly. But I can get you doing it within 60 days. If you try and go on your own completely, it's like, yeah, you might do it in 60 days, you might take 90, or you could be here in 12 months' time, still not having done it right.
Okay, good answer on that one. So again, we're back to the support is out there. Don't try and reinvent the wheel all the time. Do things yourself. There are tried and tested ways that people can help and support you to do this. So yeah, the opportunities are there. It's something we've been talking about for a good year and a half at least, because that's where the market needs to go. We need to be seen as a professional market, like you talked about earlier, the lawyers and the solicitors and the accountants. We're professional services. So let's make sure that we're seen that way a lot more by our clients. I think that's, it might be another one. I'm one person considering adding one or two to grow. What people should you recruit? Well-experienced recruiters or people you can train? I've got a flippant answer to that. Sorry, Graham. I'll come to you in a minute. It's who you can get at the moment. If you can get experienced recruiters, fantastic. If you can't, don't worry. I'm going to do a little side note here. Onboarding new starters, our course that sets everything out for the first 6 months to train them as well. So stick that in there, Charlotte. Again, there's resources to be able to help you to make sure they're successful. But it's all about the attitude for me. It's all about the person. Yes, recruit from sales backgrounds, because if they haven't done sales before, that can be a shock and you don't really want to risk that at the moment. What do you think, Roy?
I totally agree, Angela. First of all, recruit attitude, absolutely number one. In terms of salespeople, if you can get a second job as salesperson, I don't care what they've sold, be it advertising space, where, you know, publications, door to door, anything. If they've sold and they've had rejection, that's good for recruitment. The final piece, and this is something that I've seen for anyone who's thinking about bringing on experienced consultants, you can do that, but I would encourage you. Some of the best exec search people that I've ever employed and I've coached my clients to recruit have been secretarial recruiters or office level or support staff, clerical staff, high volume, like I did. It's like, you know, I was low level, but trust me, when you work those low levels, getting a placement is hard. Getting fees agreed is even harder. When you take someone like that and you show them this other level of business that you're trying to achieve, then they are, man, they're some of the best consultants out there in the industry, that level of recruiter.
Fantastic. I believe that's all the questions done. And yeah, that's our time up, people. That's been fantastic. Thank you. Some of it's been a refresher. Some are coming along because they're considering this. We're here to help. We're here to support. Reach out to Roy. We've got your link in there as well. Get that free guide that takes you all through it. And just let us know as soon as that book's done, because we are getting you on our book club.
I promise you'll be the first, Angela, definitely.
Fantastic. Lovely to have you. Thank you for that, Roy. And everyone else, have a great rest of your week. Look forward to seeing some of those retainers coming through. Let us know about your successes. That would be great.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.